Hi guys, it's Gimbo here, and today what I'm going to be bringing you guys is a No Man's Sky video. And in today's video, what I'm going to be talking about are 5 features which I would love to see added into No Man's Sky's upcoming update, that being the 1.4 or the 1.5 update. With all of that said and done, please do sit back and relax. Let's get started. So the first wish for me is a fairly straightforward, famous request, and that is planetary rotation. I've basically spoken about this since I first started covering No Man's Sky. It's always been a point which I bring up because a lot of people seem to be interested in this feature making a return. Now, I want planetary rotation as a feature in No Man's Sky because 1, it was always in the game, 2, it was a promised feature, and 3, it would make the No Man's Sky universe feel a load more alive. It sounds kind of stupid to say, but having actual moving planets would partially remove that overall static feeling of No Man's Sky. The feeling that the universe isn't really functioning and is just this kind of empty space that you use to navigate around, like a big ass skybox that doesn't do anything. It does also add a certain level of challenge as well, and especially variety, as you won't always be flying back and forth to the exact same location. And planetary rotation is also a possibility, not just because physical footage of it existed in pre-release footage, but rather because the new galactic map shows planets rotating. This was something which was added with the Atlas Rises update, and why else would this be a thing? It doesn't help us in any way whatsoever on the map. It is quite simply aesthetic, but perhaps this is a hint that the feature will be making some kind of return. Now, the next feature is actually a likely one too. In fact, it's almost confirmed to be true, and that is better multiplayer. Now, this refers to things like an actual player model, which is always brought up, but also other additions that will generally improve the fluidity of multiplayer. For me, I'm not asking for a full-blown multiplayer overhaul, just a few basic things to improve on what already exists, but still keeping that fairly subtle feel to it which currently exists. Now, I'm talking about the syncing of worlds, so you can see the effects a player has on the world in real time. This is evident with things like mining, combat, sentinels, things like that. If I see a player mining, I want to see the effect it has. I don't want to leave the planet then come back to kind of refresh the state, as you will. I want it to all be real time. That will make things feel a load smoother. And I also want better communication with players, so things like maybe the ability to wave, something which was spoken about a load back in the day with Sean Murray, saying how he wants these kind of encounters to be almost like Dark Souls. You can do like a little emote, do a little wave or a little dance, something like that, and maybe even the ability to trade items like how you would do with NPCs, but between players. And then of course you also have the possibility of being able to do missions together. But what's important for me is that the same feeling of No Man's Sky still applies. I don't want multiplayer to turn the game into an MMO or something of the sort. I quite simply want what we currently have, but as I said, on a more refined level, and I think that's what the majority of players want. Coming up next, we have pre-release biomes and new planets. Now, Atlas Rises saw a ton of cut content being brought back into the game, with things like crash freighters, desert planets, and portals being a focus of the update. For 1.5, I want this trend to continue, and for the upcoming update, I want the focus to be on biomes. Now, this is because we received 2 new biomes with 1.3, the real desert planets with cacti and things like that, and the strange broken futuristic ones with all of those weird looking plants. In 1.5, I'd love to see some of those pre-release biomes make a return, specifically sand dune planets, true rainforest planets, and these beautiful mountainous snow planets with actual mountains and structures that look pretty fucking good. But as well as this, new biomes should also be a focus. Perhaps the infamous lava planets or the gas giants that are always spoken about. Something just new and refreshing nothing like 1.3's broken planets, the bubble planets, and the little weird cog planets. Hello Games could just do so much with new biomes, since there are a ton of areas that haven't been touched on, like say nightmare planets or heaven-like planets. I just want some fresh material to explore, see things I haven't seen before, and actually be challenged with dangerous planets. So bringing back pre-release biomes is a good step in the right direction, one which was shown off with 1.3, but I want it to continue and add new biomes never seen before. Now the next ask is a big old one, and also one that people talk about a lot, and that is a fauna overhaul. Animals in No Man's Sky are a fairly big part of the game. You can scan them, you can rename them, feed them to help you find resources, and ultimately they make the planet feel unique and lived on. But it's no secret that the animals in No Man's Sky need a big overhaul, whether it be looks, behavior, or sound. Three massive aspects which need to be addressed. Animals should look like they're suited to live on a planet. So if it's a cold one, then they should have fur. If it's hot, then they should be small and without any thermal layers. Maybe some of them just aren't suited to the weather conditions, almost like anomalies, and they die from, say, storms or predators. Just anything to make them feel a bit more intelligent. Maybe actually have them interact with the world. Do something just to make them feel a little bit more alive, a little bit more special, a little bit worthwhile. And of course, the biggest focus, which is noises. I mean, what actually are the noises at the moment? It's like two foxes shagging at 4:30 in the morning. All animals just sound the same. None of them roar or have creepy screeches. They all just sound high-pitched and the same. Hello Games needs to work on making animals generally more interesting, and this could mean bringing back some of the old E3 behavior and looks. Either way, it needs to be done. Period. And the last thing which I want to talk about is another thing which is quite often spoken about in the community, and that is an overhaul of the mining system. So I think one thing which your multi-tool should be able to do is actually dig underground. This is something which was briefly introduced with 1.3 with the terrain editor, where with crash freighters you would use that to basically mine down, almost kind of dig out parts of the freighter which you can salvage. But I think the multi-tool needs to do that as well. I think having it all in one place and having that kind of in the same category as a mining tool would make a lot more sense. Maybe you can mine underground to get more riches. You see like a little tiny bit of iridium on the surface, but say you want to mine a little bit deeper without using the terrain manipulator tool. Also, I think there should be higher grades of valuables, say based on climate. So if you go to a cold place and find some emerald, it might be lower quality than say a lush planet's emerald because, I don't know, the wind has degraded the quality or something like that. This means that when you actually land on a nice planet with nice conditions, in theory the material should be of higher quality and thus sell for more when you go to a trading outpost or a space station. And also, I think there should be the introduction of some kind of equipment to make mining quicker and easier. Maybe like a whole separate tool just for mining, so not a multi-tool that has multiple purposes. Maybe its own bit of equipment, maybe almost like melee weapons, so maybe, I don't know, a shovel or a fucking pickaxe. I'm not trying to say turn this into Minecraft, but having something that isn't just a multi-tool to always use will kind of break up the monotony of mining, and I think that will actually make a lot of people happy, because right about now it is a little bit boring. So that is basically all I have to say on the matter. I want to make it clear that I'm not chatting shit about the game. I just like to bring up aspects where it can be improved, and if in the absolute crazy case that Hello Games decides to watch this video, then maybe this will give them a little bit of inspiration, bit of a guide in the right direction, or what have you. So that is basically all I have to say on the matter, but I want to know what you think, so please do feel free to let your thoughts on the matter in the comment section down below. Thank you very much for taking the time out of your day to watch this video. If you enjoyed it, then please do feel free to leave a like on it, and if you guys could also subscribe to MZK, then that'd be absolutely fantastic. And as always, I will see you guys on my next video. This is Skimp Boot, signing out.